They take good care of us here. They give us drugs and teach us how to be clean.
Government give us free water, and they use them to wash my cassava and my engine. See, as my engine, they new.
All the patients supposed to say thank you, including myself, for this at least helping hands.
The challenge for the Millennium Development Goals is to meet the needs of the country's people, primarily in healthcare, education, water, and economic sectors in the whole of Nigeria. Meeting those needs is the constitutional responsibility of state and local governments. The federal government of Nigeria seeks to support the other tiers of government by providing additional funding to scale up activities aimed at meeting the MDGs by target date of 2015. This is through the Conditional Grants Scheme.
CGS is one of the innovative strategies that have come about in order to be able to meet Nigeria's development strategy. It is all encompassed. It is part of a whole.
By the time we reviewed the progress that had been made, there was clearly some gaps in terms of communication and actually getting deliverables on the ground when we spent money here and went to the local level to see what had happened. And with the coming of this new administration in 2007, the Governor's Forum were very clear in their responses that these things were not happening on the ground. The President himself, a former governor, had also said that there was a gap, and so what we should do is try to find a way to work with the states at the local level. So we designed the Conditional Grants Scheme, where it really is an arrangement between the states and ourselves to partner with funding around the national policy objectives that we have.
The Conditional Grants Scheme was the first intervention with voluntary contributions from the states. The scheme has marked a new level of partnership by people in government for the benefit of the people. This has also improved partnership, accountability, and governance. Funds pulled from the scheme provide flexibility to states to design projects that reflect their local development strategies and MDG priorities, while the competitive nature of the funding ensures that only sustainable and high-quality projects are approved.
The federal government is committing resources behind state initiatives. They have the freedom, the flexibility to be able to implement projects according to their priorities and their development agenda.
The Conditional Grants Scheme has helped Nigeria in its development strategy by scaling up investments in rural social infrastructure, building the human resource base to support the Vision 2020, empowering state and local governments to make investments in service delivery, and encouraging improved public expenditure management. The scheme allows states to take ownership of projects while projects are implemented to a strict timeline.
Many states have been very positive and responsive. I think there are two sides to it. Everybody now wants to be part of it because it is funding that is assured. This is funding we give up front with an agreement, and so there's a large amount of trust and there's flexibility, and to a large degree states are really in control of what they're doing with those resources. So I think there has been a very positive feedback.
Taking a look at the numbers to hand so far, 335 primary health care centers were constructed or rehabilitated in 2007. More than 2,000 boreholes were sunk, and 74 solar electrification schemes were constructed, and more than 1 million insecticide-treated nets were distributed. Malaria is one of the biggest killers of young children in Africa, and the nets are an effective way of preventing mosquitoes biting people while they are asleep. And those were just deliverables for 2007. In 2008, these figures were surpassed. More than 800 primary healthcare centers were delivered, more than 3,000 boreholes provided, and 37 skill acquisition and women's development center were built through the CGS nationwide. Data for the year just passed is still being collected. But there are challenges. Involving the communities and building capacity at the local level has taken a lot of effort.
Key challenges, I think, are those that are national. There's clearly a human resource challenge, the capacity to deliver on the resources that we've targeted for specific programs and activities. And that is something we continue to try to improve. We have an investment now with the Office of the Head of Service that is targeted at building the capacity of civil servants at state level.
The task to use available resources to make significant impact on the lives of millions of Nigerians is very daunting. The MDG's office believes the Conditional Grants Scheme and other sector-specific approaches will propel Nigeria to achieve the Millennium Development Goals by 2015. Stand by for a trip to the northern, eastern and western Nigeria as we meet real people whose lives have been touched through the great concept of the Conditional Grants Scheme.